First of all, remember to hydrate. Remember to hydrate. Now I'm gonna hit my head, my hat, and my knee. Wow, trifecta. All right, so today, what I'm discussing, I had blood work done. My nephrologist, that's a kidney doctor, if you will. So I got my blood work back from the lab, and then I actually saw my doctor. And matter of fact, he gave me a good report. I am excited about that because everything was good in terms of what he's managing. I mean, it's not often that he's giving me a good report, but I'm happy and I'm pleased that he did. So I wanted to just go over some of the numbers with you. You know, I haven't looked at it yet. When, always, here's a pro tip. Always get a copy of your blood work, your labs. When you have blood drawn and you go to your doctor and he or she gives you the result and they explain it to you what's going on, before you leave the office, make sure you get a copy of your blood work or your labs. You want to collect those, you want to keep those. And then what you can do, create you some type of folder, and then you could do an Excel spreadsheet. If you don't know how to do any of that, I understand. Because if you watch my DIY video, you'll find out a whole bunch of this stuff I didn't know how to do. And I still don't know how to do proficiently, but I know how to do it enough that I understand it, and it helps me manage my circumstance as far as being a post-transplant recipient and survivor and all of that other stuff that goes along with that. It helps me manage that. So I would encourage you to do the same thing. That's all you have to do. I don't care if it's your primary care doctor, if you have an endocrinologist, if you have I call it the sugar doctor. If you have a nephrologist or oncologist, I'm just throwing stuff out there. Urologist, I have all of that. Ophthalmologist, all of that. You have to excuse. I got the yard people. They decide to come right in the front, and the blower thing. Anyway, any of those things that you may have, more than likely, or 9 times out of 10, you have to have some type of blood work before going into the office, so they could see where you are, and then they could, not just diagnose you, but with your prognosis, they tell you what you need to do, and then you could take that. In times in the past, we as a people, we didn't do that. We didn't go get our blood work. I mean, we went and got our blood work, but we didn't get copies of our labs. We didn't get the results. We just went with what the physician said, and if they gave us a pill or if they gave us a prescription, we went to the pharmacy and we were good until the next time. But while that was going, contemporaneously, we were dying, or we were getting more unhealthy, or a myriad of things would be happening. And that's all we had to do to kind of help that situation, or help it, or curtail it from going in that direction, was to actually get our labs, get a copy of our labs, and start reviewing our labs ourselves. What I typically do with mine, and this is just one folder. Now, I put it in here. I haven't looked at it yet. I went to the doctor. Today is Tuesday, yesterday. So I got my labs last week. I did the labs like Monday of last week. And then, so I could have went to the laboratory to get a copy, but I knew I was going to the doctor, my nephrologist, and I could get a copy there. So they did give me a copy, and so we're going to look at them together, or I'm going to tell you what's up. Let's see, and then I'm gonna tell you why these numbers are essential. Let's see, it says, come on. These are my labs for next time. Labs, I gotta take that with me. And then summary of today's visit. Okay, so before I do the summary of today's visit, or yesterday's visit, I'm going to get my labs. Actually, let's see, page 1 of 3, so 1. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so it's 1 of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's look here. Well, first of all, let's see what Doc had to say. Let's see what Doc had to say. Of course, it starts with current medications. And then okay, that's my appointment. I guess they didn't give me one this time. Usually, because I noticed he didn't have his recorder out, he usually, like, I don't know if that's a dictating machine or just what, but he talks in it and it puts it in the computer. Then they print it out when I leave. Let me see if I have an old one, and then I'm gonna look at my labs. Hold on. Yeah, these are all labs, old labs. I don't have that other with me, but it's okay. No worries, no worries, no worries. Okay, so let's look at what we have here. Let's look at what we have. Okay, so, and I may say, like, this isn't important. I don't mean it isn't important. What I mean is it's not what I'm looking at right now. Okay, so when I say, oh, this isn't important right now, this isn't important. So a lot of it isn't. Okay. Okay, so here's a couple of data points. That are important. Okay, and remember this name for those of you who have who are type 2 diabetics, because what happens is when you are a diabetic, what's at risk are your eyes, your feet, your kidney. Those are the 3 that you want to make sure, well, all of them, anything, like even your heart, your abdomen, your pancreas, everything is in the overall scheme of things. But you want to make sure your numbers for your kidneys are right, your numbers for your eye, make sure you're seeing an ophthalmologist, make sure there isn't anything going on in the back of your eye, And you might want to look at my video that I talk about the back of my eye. And then make sure that you're seeing a podiatrist, because you want to make sure you have a full, I guess, the sensation at the bottom of your feet, sensation and circulation. Make sure the blood flow is well at the bottom at your feet, simply because it's so far from the heart. It could run risk, especially when you have type 2 diabetes. I know it seems far-fetched and all of that, but I'm telling you things that I didn't know, and I had to suffer consequences. I'm pretty much in shape now, but now it's just a matter of maintaining and managing. That's important, but you don't want to get to that juncture. So this is important when it comes to your kidneys. Creatinine. Your creatinine level should be 0. Yes, mine is, well, let me say this. Because I received a cadaver, is that what it is? Cadaver. I received a kidney from a deceased individual. I did get the readout. She was a young female, around 5'1", 5'2", 5'3", and I'm 6'3". And at the time that I received it, being a recipient, I was like then I was about 225, 230, but at 6'3", and she was a little bitty thing. And so that kidney had to do the work for a 6'3", over 200-pound male. So the creatinine, that level should be 0 to maybe 1 point, whatever. It should be way low. Once it starts coming up, that means, something is going wrong. My creatinine right now is 2.08. It's high to normal people, but that wouldn't be considered high for me, simply because it was like that after my transplant. And it's been like that the whole time. It's never wavered it didn't go up too much. It came down a little bit. Now it will fluctuate going down, which is a good thing. It's always good, but it's never over 2.8, 2.08, and that means, I'm doing good. I'm sustaining, as a transplant recipient. Take that word creatinine, look it up, and do some research, especially those of you who have type 2 diabetes. If you never heard of it, or if you never associated kidneys with diabetes, you might want to start looking into that. Not trying to scare you, not trying to frighten you, not trying to, none of that stuff, but just to make you aware. I wasn't aware. Everything that I found out, it was almost after the train had already left. And I'm running behind the train, trying to catch up with the train. Had I known to look out for these things, I don't know. Maybe I still wouldn't have done nothing. I can't say. I can't speak for the past. I know a lot of people try, and if it's not project, meaning going forward, going backwards, reject. I mean, it sounds like it would be right, but I don't think it's reject. But I can't go back and say what I would have done, because I didn't do it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like coaching Monday morning football when the football game was Sunday night. You gonna coach? Yeah. I mean, wow, you're gonna get all of the plays right now that it's over, so you can say anything. So what I'm trying to say is make sure you look up creatinine, and when you go see your doctor, ask them to do a test on your kidneys. Find out what your creatinine is. So mine is 2.08, which is okay for me. And right now I'm still in stage 3B chronic kidney disease. Now, recently they changed the stages. It used to just be 1 through 5. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5. Now they've added like say a stage 1 or stage 3, and then they give you stage 3A and then stage 3B. So I'm at stage 3B because my kidney function, which is the eGFR, or what does that stand? It's global filtration. I don't have it here. I don't have it written down. I should know what it is, but it's the GFR, eGFR. That is how well your kidneys are functioning, and it's in a percentage. And mine is functioning at 35%. Well, 35.1. So it's considered low, but keep in mind, I'm a transplant recipient. You go on dialysis, they start preparing you for dialysis, I think around 16%, 16 to 13. I think they started preparing me at 13%. They started scaring me at 16%. Yeah. And then when it dropped to 13, they were ready. And because what they have to do, they have to get things in place. Like they have to get the fistula. That's when, if it's going in your arm, depending on your modality. That's another word you might be interested in knowing what it means. Your mode of treatment. That's what it essentially means. So a fistula is the access that they do by taking your two veins, we're making a super vein, and then they do that with a fistula. They do a surgery, and they put this in your arm, and then it gives access for dialysis. And then there's peritoneal dialysis, where they do the same thing. They put a catheter, in your abdomen, and they go in 2 or 3 places, It's grueling, but they do all of that. And it usually takes a while for it to settle, for it to heal, and for it to be operational. So that's why when they're looking at your kidney function, they're seeing where it is, the numbers, and how it's fluctuating, because they can't wait until your kidneys aren't working to start preparing you for dialysis or modality, depending on the modality you wish for. They got to start before then, so you'll be ready, because it's going to take a while, a couple of months, for everything to settle into place. So I'm saying all of that to tell you to make sure you're, staying on top of things. If you stay on top of your type 2, you never have to get down this aisle. You won't go down this aisle. But if you don't stay on top of your type 2, if you're letting things get out of control, meaning your sugar levels are out of control on a continual and consistent basis, I guarantee you will be on dialysis if something else doesn't happen first. And it's not a scare tactic. Please believe me, it's not a scare tactic. I want you to be aware. I want to help you. I want to prevent you from going down that dark alley. Okay, so make sure, those of you type 2, and depending on where you are in your journey, type 2, some of you may have just been diagnosed with type 2. And when you're just diagnosed with it, that means you've had it for a while. It didn't just boom from day to day and you have it. Not at all. You've had it a while. So that means you still playing catch up. You got to catch up, you know. But it's not a death sentence. It's not, you know. It's one of those lights in the ocean, those beacon lights that's signaling, letting you know where you are and you're safe to come home. Let's do this. Let's get it together. It's just signaling you. Okay. So my GFR is 35.1, which is good. Oh, and my BUN, my ratio, creatinine ratio is 282, which is in range. You don't want it lower than 275. You know, you want that BUN to be about right there. You don't want it even higher than 300. You know, so in that sweet spot. My tacrolimus, I'm in range, 6.0. And let me see here. Yeah, that's all we have here. My platelets, they're low. It's at 134. So I got to, so this isn't, I thought it would have like my glucose. Now this was today or yesterday. Let me see, I'm gonna go back. I don't have all my records in here. And I'm just doing this just for someone out there who may, you know, be dealing with this stuff. And to some of you, this may not even be important at all. And I get it. This may be like, what are you talking about? What, did they go to sleep and wake up? Hold on one second. Okay, so I have another one here. This was in, this was in June. So this is like 3 months before this one. So let's go straight to our, okay. So let's look at our creatinine. Now remember, our creatinine Monday was at 2.08. That's high. Remember I told you anything higher than 0, you know, 0 and maybe 1, you know, you want to be in that number. You don't want to be higher than 1, you know, for your creatinine. And usually people who have no kidney issues, there's about a little under 1. So because I am a transplant recipient and because I'm 6'3", you know, and where I got my transplant or where I got the kidney was from an individual who was a little higher, a little taller than 5. She was little, you know. So my creatinine 2.08. That's in August. That's yesterday. Now in August. Now in June, my creatinine was 2.44. See that? That's why it's important to have these. Have this, keep going back so you can get and you can see it helps you manage it. Because watch this, my GFR was 29.1. 29. Remember the percentage, the kidney function. So you see how it has a strong connection or a strong interplay with your creatinine level. So the higher your creatinine, the lower your function. In other words, the higher your creatinine, the lower your GFR. That number goes down. And what is that number? That's the function of your kidney. So the lower that is, that means your kidney isn't functioning. So watch this. Back in August, my function was 29.1. 29.1 as opposed to 35.1 over here. So we're talking 29, we're talking 6 points. It increased a 6 percentage point. Well, I can't say that's a percentage, I'm sorry. But it's 6 points, that's for sure. I mean, yes, it's still low, but would you rather have a kidney function in your 20s or a kidney function in your 30s? I'm gonna say my 30s, man. Let's see here. Yeah, that's basically it. I just want to look at that. And so, yes, I'm excited about it. I'm not finished. You know, I have a lot I got to do. You know, I got a lot of work I have to do. And I got to say, oh, I forgot this. Let me look at this. I got to say also that my nutrition, dieting, and exercising has a lot to do with this improvement. You know, I started my 48 days still standing. If you want to get a copy of the program, you could go to my website, strugglingwithdiabetes.com, and there I will send it to you free of charge. I'm not asking, you have to give me your email so I can get it to you. Outside of that, you know, you don't, I'm not using your email to, you know, upsell you, or, I mean, I can't even say upsell because I'm not selling you anything, but to bombard you with other stuff, no. I just want to get this stuff to you. Okay. So, you know, I think my improvement has a lot to do with, you know, my workout regimen. And that's the thing you have to do. If you're not exercising, if you're not working out, and I know with some people it's hard to, you know, get a time or get a schedule where you can work out on a consistent basis. But it doesn't have to be a lot. You know, you don't have to go and join a gym, and a lot of people like to do that. You know, you don't have to. You know, you could be at home, do 15 minutes of something, you know, in terms of movement, you know, that goes into a pot of your wellness. You're putting it, you're storing it in your wellness bank. You know, it's better than doing nothing. You know, I know a lot of people, oh, okay, I got my stamp. Yeah, struggling with diabetes. Struggling with Diabetes LLC. I've been waiting for this. A lot of people, you know, they don't do anything as it relates to their health, simply because they think it's too much, it's too time consuming, and all of that. But for those of you who can, you know, get out there, walk around the block, go to the store, and instead of parking, you know, relatively close, park at a distance and then walk, you know. I think it has great benefits, great rewards. Okay? All right, well, thanks for sitting with me in this episode of What's Up, Doc, as I went to see my nephrologist. Matter of fact, here he is right here. This is him. This has been the doctor that I've been blessed to have treat me for several years now. And so, very, very good man, very good man. And a lot of work I had to do myself. You know, I've seen a lot of his patients where he had to, you know, he's doing most of the heavy lifting. You know, I just don't believe I have to relinquish my responsibility, my health responsibilities for myself to someone else. You know, I think it's incumbent upon me to hold on to those responsibilities and make sure that I do what I need to do for me. You know, yeah, they're going to give me direction, tell me, you know, this and that, but at the same time, I'm going to look at a lot of that stuff and I'm going to see how I can make it better, or how I can streamline it, or how I can work it where I'm comfortable, but at the same time benefiting to its maximum potential. Okay? So again, thanks for stopping by. I'm going to have more and more of these. I have my urologist. I do have a story time about him. It's funny. You should listen to that. Watch that. Okay. And I got some more stuff. So just stick around. Go to the website and or stay here. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you share, and you comment. You know, right now I don't have that many subscribers, but you know, I don't mind getting more. Okay. All right, you guys take care. All right. And remember, we're in this together, man. We're struggling together. All right. Take care. Bye for now. See you later.